Icon. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to room 2. We are about to start judging the pet and animal category for 2019. I know, isn't it? Don't I sound lovely? Echo, we are in the Arctic room. Welcome to room 2. It's a beautiful studio. I mean, how good would it be to be shooting in here when you're going to TAFE? It's just a little chilly, but I've got blankets. David and I are wearing thermals and triple layers, and I've not the same pair. No, we're not sharing. I've got a scarf, and we're all good to go, and gloves. So let me read you the preamble of the category. This category is intended for images of domesticated pets, farm animals, and captive/zoo animals. Pet and animal photography is broadly defined and can include studio portraiture, documentary, corporate and travel work, creative and illustrative portraits. The animals should be the primary subject of an image, even where it includes one or more people to show the animal's relationship or interacting with them. It could be interpreted that a person is the primary subject that may be advised to enter into another category. The pet and animal category will be judged in 2 sections: pet and animal open, pet and animal single capture. We will be judging the single capture images first, but then I will let you know when we have finished the single capture, but we will go directly into the open category. Entries into the category may be commissioned or self-commissioned. That's probably all you need to know. All right. Now, in single capture, it is intended to reward the technical and creative excellence in photographing and presenting an authentic representation of a scene without the benefit of creative compositing techniques. I'll read the open once we get to that. All right, so my name is Kylie Lyons. I think I forgot to say that, and I spell my name correctly with an L-I-E, unlike Kylie Sharples, who is on our panel. But in position number 1, we have Anna Blackman, all the way from Wollongong, or Thurul. Yeah, it's colder. Well, you know, you're in between. Same, but different. Further down south, we have Kelly Tunney, all the way from the AC of T. Welcome. Now, Kylie Sharples is in the middle. You're also from the AC of T. Welcome. This is not cold. Yeah, look, she's taken the layers off already. Scott Portelli, welcome. You've been travelling, haven't you, to icy parts of the world? So this is probably, when are you not travelling? Well, half your luck. Good on you. And then right down the end, in seat number 5, David Glazebrook, welcome. And we do have a couple of stand-ins. Nadine Sachs, she's not here yet, but that's okay. Melanie Burt's on the sidelines. Paul Holan, we love you. We know we love you. You're on the sidelines. Jodie Andrews is here as well. And Lib Ferreira. Is that how I say it? Oh, however, just don't call me late for dinner. Now, I forgot to mention, Marina Zivkovic. Did I say that right? Zivkovic, yeah. She's learning the process. Yeah, learning the ropes. She's here on the microphones. And then Neil Looms is live streaming. Out the back, we've got Joe. Who else have we got? Joe Kylie. How do you spell your name, Kylie? Yeah, 2 to 1. Oh, it's so common. So common. All right. Well, welcome, everybody. We are judging the single capture pet and animal category. Could we have the first print, please? Thank you, judges. This print has scored 78. I might ask Kylie, you're on 78. Would you mind starting off with just a brief comment for the benefit of the audience, both live and live stream?
Sure. I think this is a fabulous capture. The expression on the dog's face is fantastic. The fur is good. I just felt a little bit distracted with the background.
Thank you, Kylie. Let's go next print, please. Thank you, judges. Print has averaged 85, is a silver with distinction. Yeah. Excellent. And all our judges seem to agree in that scoring range. But Kelly, you'd like to give us a quick little comment?
I'm trying to think of something that is constructive to lift it.
Constructive?
Sorry?
Did you say constructive?
Yes.
Sorry, it sounded like you said contractive. Sorry.
Oh.
I'll just clean my ears out.
Without stating the obvious, like, well, poor little puppy, but maybe it's just a bit of a fallout that's happening sort of in the right. I'm clutching at straws a little bit, but I think maybe the density of the print and lifting it a little bit or something. But man, well done to the photographer, because sort of capturing it in single capture and with such emotion is rare, and well done.
Thanks, Kelly. Next print, please. So if you've just joined us, this is the single capture part of the pet and animal category, sponsored by the AIPP. And of course, it's the 2019 AIPP Epson New South Wales ACT Professional Photography Awards. That's a mouthful. And just a reminder, if you are in Sydney and you want to come along to the dinner on Monday night, which is at L'Aqua in Darling Harbour, there are only 20 tickets left. That's it. I'm in. I'll be there. So, come along. Party with me. It's on Monday night. See Matthew Vasilescu if you want a ticket. Thank you, judges. Print has averaged 81, silver award. Anna, can I ask a comment from you? You're at 81.
I think it deserves to be in professional practice with a silver award, because single capture, to get all those dogs in a row like that, doing something cute with the one in the middle yawning is lovely. The blacks are a little bit blocked up. I think this could really be helped with a reprinting, maybe different paper.
Thanks, Anna. Next print, please. We're falling apart. Thank you, judges. Print averages 86, a silver distinction. And very consistent numbers again from our panel. We're a team. I like it. I need a comment though. David, please.
What a great character has been brought forward in this portrait of this bird. There's so many human elements in here. If you're going to explore that a little bit further, perhaps even controlling the light falling off from the chest and the wing even a little bit further to even really draw our focus even further to the face, but well done.
Lovely. Thank you, David. Next print, please. Thank you. Just waiting for the boys down the end. Their scores are in, and the print has average, oh, beg your pardon, it has majority score 84. Silver award. Would you like to challenge? I would like you to challenge because I'll tell you why. It averaged 85, but 3 of these judges are in that silver range, hence its average, its majority 84. So you're at 92, Kylie, so I'll accept your challenge.
All right.
Go for it.
Firstly, I think for a single capture to get that image with the legs in that position, the leaf in the right position, it just all seems to flow, the shape of the wombat flows. I think it's been processed beautifully. You can really see every little detail in the texture. The shadow underneath is very subtle, but it is there, so it's anchored. And I think it deserves more. What was it? Silver?
It's majority 84 silver.
Yeah, I think it at least deserves silver distinction, but I've put it up in the gold range because I think it's beautiful.
All right. I'm going to ask Kelly for a comment first because Kelly's there at 78.
Yeah, I'm a bit lower. The left foot is just what bothered me. I think the balance, it was just feeling a little bit restricted and not seeing, like, I agree there's a lot of high level technical work being done to this, and you can see every hair so perfectly. It's really, really, really sharp. Not as a bad thing, but it's just not quite, I'm not getting enough of the character of this little fella. So I was just feeling a bit restricted and awkward with the positioning of the hand. So what you like, I didn't quite not like as much.
All right, we'll hear from Anna Blackman, please.
I actually really enjoyed that little quirky foot. Like, you see wombats and they waddle along like you feel like they're about to fall over at any moment. You know, there's big fat bodies waddling along, and I like the fact that he's a little unstable, but just the curiosity in his eyes. You know, looks like a juvenile to me, and he just, the wonder is beautiful. I did give it a silver, but I'm happy to go to silver distinction.
Okay, then we'll go back to Kylie for your right of reply.
As Anna mentioned, I really like that because they do walk kind of pigeon-toed and awkward looking, so that's what I took away from the foot being in that position. But yeah, I just think it's beautifully done, so I think you should all come up.
All right then, sit back and relax, Kylie, for a moment. You're on 92, and like I mentioned, it's an average of 85, but majority 84 score. Scores are coming in. Guess what? Silver distinction, 87. Lovely. So you're talking done good. Everybody moved up. Excellent. Next print, please. Can I just say, we're in Antarctica, but I'm just feeling really hot. Is it because I just finished my cup of tea? Okay. I do have a heater, so the front half is hot, the back half is cold. Yeah. Thank you, judges. This print has averaged 80, is a silver award. Thank you. With the challenge, Anna Blackman's on 86. So we've got 86, 76, 81, 82, 76.
So it got 80.
So we got 80.
Oh,
Yeah.
look,
So we're just in silver.
I think it'd be nice to give it, a strong silver, not just a sort of pulling in. When this first came round, before I focused on it, I thought it was a caterpillar. If you look at the little, if you sort of look at it without focusing, it looks like a caterpillar, and I just love that quirkiness. But then when you go in, I can see it's a little bit over sharp and blah, blah, blah. But it's like a bunch of school kids, and you've got the ones up the front that, that are the leaders of the gang, and the ones at the back are the ones I love the most. There's a little shy one just peeping over the top of this other guy's back, and there's another one at the back saying, I don't give a rat's bottom about what's going on. I'm not even going to look at you because I don't care. There's the rebel. So you've got all these different personalities that come out in a group of people or sheep or dogs or whatever. And to me, that raises it above just making a silver. And, anyhow.
All right, well, let's hear from David Glazebrook.
Pun intended, I think you find that they're all girls. But anyhow, looking at I'm looking for more narrative beyond that. I mean, I think it is appropriate to how sheep behave in terms of when they stop and they look and they're a pack animal and how they hold together. And I think it's been well captured in terms of telling us a bit of a story. But in terms of giving us something that really takes us into award category, I'm concerned about some of the highlights on a few of the back of the sheep. And also, just when I look at the crop here, I'm wondering about if that much foreground is also needed in order to sort of try and take us there. But if you can give me some more story or something to sort of hang on to, I might be sort of, swayed.
Well, hand the microphone to Scott, because Scott's in the silver range. I'd like to hear from him.
Yeah, this image is quite interesting, and I do like the curves through it, the expressions of all the sheep. I think I probably would have went a little bit higher if the sheep at the back was not sort of overlapping, and you could see his face, because then it would be quite an interesting composition. But obviously you can't get sheep to do what you want them to do. It's a beautiful single capture, and definitely in the silver award area, and I'm happy to listen to come up.
All right. Kylie or Kelly, nothing to add? I can go back to... No, I'll go back to Anna. Thank you.
As you know, I love the personalities of the sheep at the back. I like that you can only just see his little eyes, and I like the fact that the rebel is saying, I'm not doing what you all want me to do, even though I'm a sheep, sheepy sheep. And I'm supposed to just follow around like a sheep, but I'm not going to, because I'm a special sheep. At the foreground, I really like... I shouldn't say that. I think the beautiful little pieces of wheat are really nice, and there's really nice, really lovely colour palette. So I'm just saying, let's not give this an 80. Let's the person who has done this and stood around with all these sheep for all this length of time to get this, let's say this is a really solid silver.
Okay, thank you, Anna. Sit back and relax for a moment on 86. Other judges, please rescore. It has moved to 82. So solid silver, yeah. And every point will count. Thank you. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. Print scores 76. I'll accept that score, but I need a comment, please. Thank you, Kelly.
Yeah, there's something, maybe it's just in the sort of panning and the movement, there's something really not quite right happening sort of in the left-hand corner. Just sort of look at sort of fixing that stuff up. And I think just this overpowering of that saturation with the green is just a little bit too heavy, I suppose.
Thank you. Next print, please. So just reminding you, this is the single capture section of the pet and animal category for 2019. Thank you, judges. We have an average score of 89. There's challenges all round. Through the chair. I'll take your challenge, Ms. Tunney, because you're at 93, so you're just ahead of David. So know that you're not alone, and truly, you are not alone because everyone else is high silver distinction. So let's have a chat. Kelly at 93.
Poor little possum. Man, it's just, in these categories in single capture, there is so much to be rewarded for such a beautiful image, and the power of the emotion that's coming through from this little fella hits you in the guts like a lump of lead, because this fella, it's just in the eyes. Oh my gosh, the eyes are just so sad and tragic, and to have that, and then the level of difficulty, the design, which is a weird thing to say for something that's so sort of, pulling at the heartstrings as well. Those colour tonality is just beautiful. It's like art, it really is. It's just been done so particularly well, and I know I don't have much to push. I would love to talk about this for a lot longer, and I don't think I need to. This is a gold, if not a bit more.
Well, let's hear from David, who's also in gold, because you're right, the other three judges are high silver distinction, so we've just got to convince them of your two arguments, perhaps.
So Kelly's addressed the emotive in this print, as well as some of the technical stuff. Probably maybe in the posing of the animal, capturing the moment. But we also look at the technical side of the quality of the print that happens in here. In these print awards, this is expertly printed. Yes, it's on a black background, yet the blackest part of this print is not the background. It's actually in the dead bits right on the top of the frond here. And you look at that. So that's our black that we anchor to. We've got our white here on the tip of the tail. So going back to harking what Kelly sort of said, you take the emotive, you get taken along that ride, and then you check it for its technical excellence. It checks all the boxes. It's definitely in gold.
Mm-hmm. All right, if our other judges don't have anything further to add to what's been said, Kelly, you get a final word.
Thank you. A gold, please.
Thank you, Kelly. Let's rescore. It's currently sitting at 89. Every single judge scored gold. We have 92 gold award. Excellent. Thank you so much. It'll be interesting to see that on the wall, because from our position here, we can't see that detail that you get to see. Lovely. Thank you. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. Print scores 77. Yes, thank you, David. A comment, please.
Two things I'd explore here further, because it's a really interesting print to put before us in this category. Light, it's very, very, very out there, very, very hard. But the second is also sharpening. I think the sharpening's been just cranked a little bit too hard.
Thank you, David. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. Print scores 79. Challenge from David Glazebrook on 87. And I'll just mention you're probably out on your own a bit. 75, 75, 79, 79.
So this really hit me emotively. I really feel like this subject is really special, in air quotes. The tilt of the head, the twist of the bow tie, the in the cage, the sort of feeling of it. And it's not one of those emotions where I feel joy. I actually feel quite sorry for this subject sort of sitting in here, you know. It's almost like the special dog in the special house kind of business, and that's where I'm at with it. And then I looked around the design of this, the design of the capture here, or the presentation. If we look in the top right corner, there's a couple of little water bottles hanging up there, and there's a little splash of red and a little splash of purple and green, and that's echoed by the green here in the foreground, the green on the grass, and the blue at the head here. And it's just, it feels like out of kilter, and it feels like it's a really sort of odd tune, but I feel the emotion that it's brought to us needs to be rewarded for its communication. Not for the positive, but for the quirkiness, for want of a better word.
Anna, can I hear from you? Or Kelly, because you're both on 75.
It's an interesting perspective that you have, because I guess I felt like the things that you were saying that the photographer's trying to convey could have been delivered in a less subtle kind of way, because you can't help but get distracted by all those elements in the background. And I know photographer's not able to remove them, but just in terms of composition and moving around, you could probably still get the message across without all those things. I don't think that they kind of add to the story, but you had a lovely story, and I'm listening, because I'm kind of, even on 75,
It's sitting on 79.
I really
at the
liked your
moment.
perspective. So, yeah.
Right, Kylie or Scott, have you got anything to add to speak to the print?
Yeah, what stopped me going up into silver was the fact that the background to me was quite distracting, and I felt it took away from the head tilt and the expression on the dog. The dog itself is beautifully sharp around the eyes, and then it just blows off. So, I mean, I think it's been really well done, but that background let it down for me.
All right then, David, right of reply.
This image isn't meant to endear you to this dog, you know. It's meant to make you feel empathise with the dog or feel sympathy for the dog. And I think the depth of field that the photographer has chosen here is to still show us where this dog is and why this dog has this peculiar head tilt and bow tie out of the way, and why it is so special. I think it's meant to, as said, make you to feel sorry. And if I was to really try and, you know, play on the emotive of this, it's almost like, is it in the asylum kind of business? Is it locked up for a special reason yet, you know? So let's reward this special dog. Let's lift it into, I think there's some really good storytelling happening here.
All right, it currently sits at 79. David's score remains at 87. Other judges rescore. It has moved up to 81, silver award. Thank you. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. Print has averaged 84, silver award. A challenge. I'll take the challenge from Scott, who's on 89.
Yeah, this composition is stunning. It's beautiful. You look at this, and the more and more you look at it, you're looking into this story, the honeycomb in the background, the bees in the foreground. The symmetry of this shot is just fantastic. I think the photographer has done an amazing job, and even the way they've thought of how they would compose this or crop this really brings a bit more power to this image. It's an interesting narrative, and it definitely is worthy of a silver distinction. I'd urge everyone to come up. There's so much to this photo. Have a look at it again.
Right, Kelly's at the other end at 78.
Yeah, props for a different level of composition, and it's a unique perspective on their crazy little world. I guess technically, I don't feel it's just let down with the level of sharpness, and I can agree it's very hard for a photographer to be that close to the subject of bees and photograph them better, but I think it's just missed the mark for me personally. What happens when you get inside, it's just a bit lackluster in that sort of, it's just flat or something, and just the sort of the bottom sort of third of that sort of plane, just with that light sort of falling off, the really dark bit, but everything else is perfectly sort of balanced at the top, but I'm not quite sure what is happening in the patterning, but which could have been corrected. So I do enjoy it compositionally, so I probably will go up to silver, but I'm not sure about silver distinction.
All right, David Glazebrook.
I think this has been really cleverly crafted in its presentation, which we initially were discussing. I get the feeling that the photographer has presented it within the matte this particular way to try and emulate a beehive, and almost like viewing it as a slat or a slide that they have of bees here. So I feel like it's a little window into their world. I think that for my liking, I appreciate the going to black and white here as well, because it's removed the distraction of the colour to allow us to enjoy the detail, to try and enjoy that story of, look at the beehive here. That's why it's sitting so high on this mat, and they've given us such a little panoramic to sort of play on that sort of idea. So I think that's really clever, and that's why I had it in silver distinction.
All right then, Scott, back to you for right of reply.
It's quite interesting, obviously, the different perspectives. Like I said, this immediately had impact, I think, on all of us. There is a lot of detail in there. You look at the little scratch marks around their feet, and the honeycomb in the background, and the bees doing different thing. And like David pointed out, it looks like a beehive. Like this composition, this mat, this design is simply stunning. Like, you don't see these sort of things quite often, and it's original. Like, I think really it does deserve to come up a bit, and I encourage everyone to come up.
All right, thank you, Scott. You can sit back on 89 for a moment. Other judges, rescore, please. And it has moved to silver distinction, 86. Excellent. Thank you, team. Let's go next print, please. Thank you, judges. We have an average score of 81, silver award. Everybody's happy. Yes, I need a comment. Thanks, David.
So I understand the behaviour of the dog here jumping the grate, and obviously when they're working, they're sort of just so quick to sort of get down. That's why our dog is airborne here. Perhaps if there was more context in this, I don't know, if there's other frames, of sheep or something in the background that would even sort of say why this dog is in such a hurry as well. Might lift it.
Okay, thank you, David. Next print, please. This print has averaged 77. Yes, I'll accept. You can. No. Happy with that score? All right, I'll accept that score, and I'll ask for a comment from. Oh, do you want to give a comment, Kylie?
Well, that's what I thought.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, okay, yep, please.
Look, I think it has been really well done. I like the fact that even though it's a silhouette wet, you can still see some detail. And I think that the shadows have been handled really well.
Okay, thank you, Kylie. Accept the score of 77. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. Print scores 82, silver award. Yeah. And I get very consistent numbers with our judges. You all seem to agree. A comment, please, for the benefit. Yes, Kelly, thank you.
What a character. Really frigging cool. But I reckon there's something like it's comical. Maybe I'm sort of thinking, I think the photographer's done well for just sort of trying a different what's the word? Crop, thank you.
Composition.
But maybe I'm thinking actually more room on top or something. I don't mind the balance, but I think it could be just experimented with a couple of different other ways, maybe just to lift it up.
Thanks,
And
Kelly.
it's a bit chalky. Maybe the print just needed a bit more of a contrast or, guts.
Thank you, Kelly. Next print, please. All right, just waiting on Scott's score to come in. And it's here. We have an average score of 78. Would you like to challenge? Well, I'll take your challenge, Kylie, because you're on
Thank you.
83. So you're
What
working
am I
with
no-
77, 76, 82 and 70.
Okay, 70, wow, harsh. What I really enjoyed about this image is the tonalities. The fur texture is really quite visible, and it's very easy to lose that when you've got a similar colour in the background. There is a little bit of blown out highlights around the rim light of the dog, but I don't think that distracts from it. It's got space on the side to look into. I just think it's been a lovely, well-crafted image, and I think it at least deserves to have a higher professional practice, if not silver.
Okay, David.
Sorry, I respectfully disagree. Yes, the burnout's on the top. Yeah, that's obviously something that really catches us when we first go up there. I look into the fur in the bottom left-hand corner here. The burn back here feels muddy to me and almost got like a little bit of even a green tint to it as well. And it just, the balance for me, so that crop, there's too much fur in the left-hand corner. The balance doesn't feel quite right to me. So there's several issues here that even for me to sort of get into a solid professional practice, that's where I'm struggling. But, let's listen.
All right, Scott, do you have anything to add? You're in the silver range.
I enjoyed the colour palette in this, and definitely the sharpness around the dog's eye is quite good. And obviously, that little drop of saliva or water or whatever it is quite interesting to sort of notice those little details. I think it deserves to be in a silver award category.
All right, Kylie, you get a right of reply.
Yeah, I can't see what you're seeing, David. I'm sorry. Yeah, I just think the tonality's lovely, and like you said, the saliva's lovely, and I think it at least deserves to come up into award range.
All right, well, it is averaging 78. Kylie's score of 83 stays put. Other judges rescore. We have a final score of 78, so it stays the same. Thank you, judges. Could I have a blank screen for a moment? We have just finished the single capture. All right. Yay. So just give me a moment. We're going into the open category, and what I need to tell you is that entrants may utilise all post-production techniques, including multiple images or elements in producing their entry. But we're still looking at pets and animals. Let me just go through this. Now, Scott, going to change you out and put Paul Holan in. All right, so I've got to change that. Paul Holan, stop looking at the gadgets. Yeah. Matthew Vasilescu has this wonderful looking gizmo, which is remote control, and it moves and it goes. Oh, it is very sexy. I know it's a gimbal, and I think I want one. I don't know if I'd ever use it. You could probably sell it if you're retiring. Oh, okay. Oh, he rents it. Okay. So I'm updating the judges. All our judges feeling good? All right, yeah. All right, let's go, because I wanted to keep you on to do the whole category, which you've done very well. We are now judging the open section of the pet and animal category. Are you guys, print handlers, right out the back? Loving your work. Let's start the judging. Next print. Yes, it's like this. It's like this print has a sound effect. Yes. Yeah, there are some birds somewhere. That's right. All right. This print has averaged 84. Is a silver award. Yes. Comment. I need a comment. Paul, I'm going to pick on you. Comment. No. It's just because we can't challenge. We just need a comment. No, I want you. Yeah, it's
I highly encourage everyone to go up close to this print. It's masterfully handled, and I particularly applaud the paper choice. There's this beautiful little specular highlights that flash around just on the turn, and when you go close and move your eyes around, it dances around all the little details in the print. Gorgeous.
Thank you. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. Print has averaged 84, silver award. Excellent. Comment. Thank you, David.
Yeah, really comical sort of presentation here, which I really enjoyed. What would have elevated it further for me is just giving a little context in some of those, both the black and the white shots. They almost, in some of those images, the cats almost float in it, and I'd like a little bit more context, please.
Thank you, David. Next print, please. Kelly, have you pushed enter? Or submit? Thank you. She has now. Print averages 79. All right, I'll accept the score of 79 and congratulate. Where's my badge? Look, they get one of these wonderful 79er badges. Excellent. And a comment from Anna Blackman.
This isn't single capture, so you can do something about the linoleum the cat is on, because I don't think we need to see quite as much of that. I would crop the top too. I think that you could work this up to a silver with a little bit of mucking around with the printing.
Isn't it Laminex?
Laminex is...
Linoleum's on the floor, Laminex is on the bench.
Less. Yeah. Well, you just don't know. Laminex is a brand, you know, of laminate. You can't assume, and that is a brand. It could be a different brand of laminate.
Thank you. Thanks, Anna. Next print, please. Oh, yes, I know. Ooh. Maybe we're starting to warm up because of all the people in the room. Look at all the peeps. And hello to all our live streamers. I don't think you can make comments at the moment on the live stream, if at all. But if people want to Googleize my phone number, you can always send me a message. I like receiving messages. Thank you, judges. We have an average score of 86, a silver distinction. Yeah. Nicely done. And again, you're very consistent with your numbers. We're all good. So I need a comment. Well, there, Anna, can you speak to the print, please?
It's gorgeous. It's been beautifully handled. I don't know if you can get it up into gold. Maybe try a few different printing techniques. Paper, sorry. Yeah, just do a few little things. It's not. It's really close. You know, and that little duck is fantastic, and it's so like what you see in Family, but it's a dog. You know, and the dog. It's beautiful. So you know, I'd stick with it and keep your fingers crossed for a gold.
Yep, 86 is pretty close. Thank you, judges. Next print, please. Yes, you're in. Is that the incorrect? All right, well, that's all right. Just turn me off for a sec. Thank you, judges. This print has scored 85, a silver distinction. Excellent. Because all our judges are in that high. I'd like you to make a comment, please. Thanks,
I
Kelly.
scored this 88, and I really do apologise. And we have done corrections, and that doesn't make any difference. And it got what I wanted. Yeah, maybe it needed a bit more space. That it's so tactile. It's like 3D-like. The printing is beautiful. Like, well done for just the technical, but the expression on this little echidna's face is priceless. I just think maybe a square. Yeah, go with a square. I reckon that might do it.
I concur.
Well done.
Excellent. Thanks, Kelly. We'll accept that score and say next print, please. Thank you, judges. Print has averaged 84. You may challenge because you're at 92. Yeah, don't be scared. Anna Blackman is going to challenge on 92. All the other judges are in the 80s.
What? I mean, everything's beautiful and perfect about this. This gorgeous little squirrel, I mean, he's sharp. Those eyes are so sharp, and the expression, the way he's holding his little hands next to his heart. Who, me? Really? You think I'm worth a photograph? Oh, thank you so much. He's just got the most gorgeous little expression. He does. And then you get this photographer who has subtly put this little guy into a snowy field with trees, and you can just see them. So it's like he's on a little hill of snow with the out of focus trees and snow in the background. I think it's been absolutely brilliantly done to make it look like he's outside on a winter field. Absolutely brilliant. Beautiful colour palette. Beautifully printed. I have nothing that I probably should have given it 95 because I can't find anything wrong with it. Just everything right with it.
Well, let's hear from Paul because Paul's at 81.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the finishing and the detail and the subject in particular. I didn't find the contextual background particularly convincing in terms of the dimensionality, and I sort of felt like there's a little bit more room to breathe in this category for narrative, and there's other components you could have added in, a little nest of acorns or something going on behind to even add more complexity to it. But thank you for bringing me more to the purity of that moment and the emotion of how it's holding its body language. It's lovely.
Would any one of our other judges like to add anything to what's been said? No, we're shaking. We are, right? We're happy. And a right of reply.
Well, look, we're not happy on 84, that's for sure. No, I think the concept of the background looking like it could be in a forest, but it's not. I think it's been done beautifully and perfectly. It's like is he there? No, he can't be there. But it's just been beautifully done. I love that. I think it's fantastic. And his little, like this little squirrely, shy, petite. The expression. How do you get an expression so good on an animal? It's wonderful when it happens. Just wonderful. I'm on 92. Please at least come up into silver distinction for me.
Thanks, Anna. Sit back, relax for a moment. Your 92 stays put. Other judges may rescore. They've all moved. Silver distinction, 86. Lovely. All right, next print, please. You love him? Just waiting on Kelly Tunney again. Thank you. By majority, we have a score of 80, a silver award. Now, it did actually average 79, but 3 of you put it into that silver range, hence the majority score. So I need a comment. Kylie, thank you, appreciate it.
I think the emotion coming out of this image is what has got it over the line for me. I think there are certainly some technical things that could be picked up on. The texture in the fur could probably be defined a little bit better. And also, I know the human is not the subject of this category, but it's kind of annoying me that she's a little bit out of focus.
Good. Thanks, Kylie. Nice comments. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. Print averages 82, silver award. No, you may not. Oh, you can. No, you may not, because we have a challenge. Yeah, patience, Grasshopper. Kylie is going to challenge that because she's on 89, and I'm going to take her challenge.
Yeah, look, I think the graphical elements of this are beautiful. I love the composition. I love the way the red really pops and brings out the little quirky personalities in those birds. Sitting back from it, I appreciate it a bit more than being right up close to it. But I think just that graphical nature is beautiful.
Now, Kelly, you may say some words.
Oh, and I really don't like being that guy, but I'm
girl.
going to have to just say, there's so much that what you said I agree, and the fella up the top, King of the Castle, is golden. Like it's a great moment, I suppose. The background, and maybe you have to have another look. The bird on the right side, about 4 mil above that, you can actually see a line across where the photographer hasn't cloned. Like it's very noticeable, and it's really not particularly great. So if you can all have a look at that, I think for technical, it has to probably come down. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Kelly. It's good if you see something that the other judges don't. So does any other judge want to make a comment, Anna?
Yeah, I've seen that now. Thanks. But no, it was very important to point that out. But what I loved, apart from the fact that it's just beautifully created, is that you've got a definite little one guy, it's so very Australian to be, one very guy at the top going, and I did this and the fish was this big, you should have seen it, it was fantastic. And the others are looking at him going, oh, here we go again. You know, and so this conversation that's happening, I just felt was, you know, I know I'm anthropomorphising, but, I said a big word. But I did really love that. I gave it 86, and yeah, I can see the little problem you pointed out.
All right, David has some comments.
I was just waiting perhaps for this to come through, but the lighting didn't feel right to me in terms of on the subject, particularly that right-hand subject, the direction of light on the other subjects and how that matches with the branch, you know, and in compositing, of course, it's all got to be believable and all that kind of business. And sorry I didn't get sold on the story, and as Kel pointed out, the post-production sort of error there as well, or a little oversight, you know, yeah.
All right, Kylie, you get a final word.
Thanks for pointing that out. I didn't actually see that from the angle that I was standing. So, but I still think that it's a beautiful graphical piece. But certainly, going forward to APPers, you'd need to fix that blending.
All right, thanks, Kylie. Sit back for a moment on 89. Other judges, please rescore. And it has moved to 81, but still a silver award. Thank you very much. All right, going to do a quick judge change. Kelly, I'll give you a rotate out. And it's for no other reason than I've got to do rotations. And we're going to invite Melanie Burt. Mel Burt to the panel. Welcome. Let's turn the print. Next print, please. Mel, your name's on the top of the thing. Yes, I was just going to say, Melanie didn't know where to sit, but her name is on the... I know. The computer knows all. So we've done a bit of a judge change. We are judging the pet and animal category, and this is the open category. Anna Blackman is in position number 1. Then Melanie Burt from New South Wales is number 2. Kylie Sharples. Oh, I nearly thought they spelt your name wrong twice, but it's okay. Then Paul Holan and David Glazebrook make up our panel at the moment. And we're still waiting for the boys to score. Here we go. On average, the score is 86. Silver distinction. But we're challenging. Yes. All right, Kylie Sharples is challenging on 92.
Look, I love the story. When you sit back and you see the story of, you know, mum sitting there on her own, she meets a fella, they get together, they have puppies, he's out of there. So I think the emotive component of that really took it over the line for me, but I think it's been really well handled as far as the processing goes. There's no sort of muddiness in highlights or anything. Yeah, I just really enjoyed the image, and I think the story's been told really well, and I think it deserves to come up into gold.
Okay, Anna?
I was so busy getting really excited about sausage dogs that I missed that whole story. and I was thinking, like, I'm just so... you know, I want to give every one of those sausage dogs 100, so I've got to control myself, and it's really hard. But that is great. And, you know, and the other thing that's really amazing is that little baby sausage dog on the left, he's done a wee, and they've left it there. I think that is just brilliant. I'm so coming up to gold. All
right. Well, we should hear from Paul, who is at 80.
Yeah, I missed the narrative. I was reading it bottom up, not top down, and I couldn't quite get there in that direction. It didn't get me, and I was a bit off put by the asymmetry and that tension of the balance off to the right, but that is a massively engaging narrative, and it really is going to bring me up a lot. I felt like the gaze between the two just kind of missed each other a little bit in the middle in terms of the believability of looking into their eyes, but I'm heading in that direction real fast.
Excellent. All right, then back to Kylie for a right of reply.
Yeah, look, I don't think the gaze sort of turns me off at all, but I do think that everybody should come up. It's just a really good narrative and something we haven't seen.
All right then. Kylie's score of 92 remains. Other judges, please rescore. The print currently sits at 86. And there's movement at the station. We now have a score of 90. Gold award. Gold award. Yay. It feels good, doesn't it? Oh, feels so good. Lovely. Good work, judges. Thank you very much. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. Print has averaged 79. No one can challenge, but I appreciate comments. Thank you, David.
I think the print would benefit from a reprinting. I think it's a little printed down. It could have a little bit more contrast and a bit more lifting. And also the subject on the left-hand side could just drop down a little bit in the frame to sort of just that presentation just be finished off, I think. Presenting.
Well, yes, I'll let Paul do a comment and I'll do a judge change all at the same time because I'm going to get Lib to come in for Kylie. So we'll do that swapping while Paul has a comment.
Yeah, I feel like this is heading in an excellent direction, but narratively I feel like it's missing something. It doesn't have a beginning, a middle and an end or an actual flow. There's two very similar narratives and one separate, and the balance between the three doesn't quite work. So have a look for another frame and refine that story a little bit more, and you're moving into award range for sure.
Thank you, Paul. But as a consolation, there is a lovely badge waiting to be picked up from one of our New South Wales. You know, oh look, there's one here. Please, I want one, but I don't want one. We'll accept that score. Next print, please. And we're welcoming Lib Ferreira. I hope I'm getting the pronunciation right of all these, Italian names. and what, Croatian? What is it? Serbian. Okay. Same sort of area. Yeah. Same but different. Yeah. I'm actually 8th generation Australian. Yeah, I know. Boring, hey? Yep, that's me, mate. Beauty. So we're judging the pet and animal category, sponsored by the AIPP. Anna Blackman, we're working her hard. She's doing good. Melanie Burt's in there. Then we've got Lib Ferreira. I'm probably saying it wrong. Paul Holan and David Glazebrook. So this is the open section of the pet and animal category. And the print before us has averaged 81. Silver award. Would you like to give us a comment, please, Mel?
Sure. I think the crop is just explains this landscape perfectly. The lamb just bleating, so cold, and it's tiny, and it's beautifully seen.
Lovely, thank you. Mel, next print, please. Next print, please. Thank you. So if anybody still needs a ticket for the dinner on Monday night, there's only 20 tickets left. That's for New South Wales. Jeff, do you know anything about the ACT Awards? Tuesday night is the 8th. All right. Just get a ticket. Come along. All right. So ACT is on Tuesday night, your presentation. So CLIB, AIPP website, under events. Go and book your tickets for the ACT dinner. Monday night is New South Wales. I'll be there. I'm saying it's good. If there's a table, I may dance on it. Who knows? Thank you, judges. We have an average score of 77. Anna, can I ask for a comment, please? Because you're on 77. Oh, hang on.
Here I am. Here I am, Spot.
First strike.
There are some issues with the blacks melting into each other on the dog on the left. The dog on the far right in particular, is very obvious that he's being placed in there. I think you need to, it's a great concept, but you need to have another look at those little tiny details in the printing. Yeah.
Thank you. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. We have an average score of 86, a silver distinction. Yeah, straight off the bat. And we're all very, very tight-knit with... Anna, you know I love when you say something.
Look, it just took me a little while because, I need another coffee. Noughts and crosses played with dogs and cats' faces. What a great idea. What a fantastic idea. And I love that middle top cat looking at the dog coming who's about to win. Sort of like... It's fantastic.
Right.
I don't know how to get it into gold.
Well,
Maybe
David
someone
said
does.
he's got something technical.
Yeah, if this print's going to go forward to APPers, look at the lighting of the hand to that last piece that's placed in there, because a little bit in post-production, and I'm only saying this now sort of post-scoring because I believe that's where it was, and I think it could be lifted by taking care of that.
Lovely. Thank you, judges. Let's accept that score. Congratulations. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. Print has scored by majority 84. Yes, you may challenge. So just for your benefit, Anna, the average was 85. But you've got 3 judges in that silver range, hence the majority score. But you, stop pushing buttons on your thing. I challenge you. Yes. But you're at 90, so you're allowed to challenge. Please, take it away.
Good, because I wanted to make sure this got a healthy score, because this is like, we're looking at a bird from a totally different perspective where he's got his head down, so you can't see his head, so it becomes an abstract. So you've got an abstract of these wings. It's really angelic, and it's just showing this a wonderful ability for wonderful printing, wonderful idea and conception that's very different to what you usually see, which really puts it in, not in the silver award, it puts it in at least like this is definitely superior visual communication, imagination, craft and skill, if not outstanding. So I just think, without, having to let you listen to me for too long, we really need to move this up. We really need to go somewhere with this.
Well, I'm going to ask. We'll ask David for a comment because your score is at 81.
Okay. Exquisite detail on those wings, absolutely exquisite, and that got me in there, but we're trying to, the presentation is almost symmetrical. The bird actually leans, the head goes out to the right kind of business, and it's almost like, for me, if you're going to play symmetry, get it bang on, not just within a hair's width of it, and I know we're working with animals here, but we're also working in the open category, and we're working with multiple shots and all that kind of business, yeah? I'm also looking for more narrative in the presentation, whether there's a perch, a background, or something like that, just to give me a bit more story to sort of weave into this. So I recognise the expertise in the capture of that, in the capture of the pose and the technique of showing us the all that little wonderful detail that exists in there, but I need more.
Lib, did you have anything you'd like to add?
Is this on? Okay. For me, it had that initial impact. I love the design of it. It's really beautiful. I kind of held back and gave it a really strong silver just because it felt a little bit cut out for me, and I wanted it to meld into the darkness a bit more, and also tiny bit of movement at the bottom right wing, which just stopped me from getting into that distinction level.
Okay, thanks, Lib. No other comments from Paul or Mel. I'll let Anna have her right of reply.
Nature isn't really symmetrical very often, and I actually love the fact that it's slightly asymmetrical, just that little bit. And I also think it's wonderful that there's just a little bit of movement in the wing, just to show this is potential energy just about to be unleashed. It's just before it goes. So I really, all the things that you aren't sure about, I'm very, very sure about. And David, when you start calling something exquisite, exquisite is, an 86, not an 81, I reckon. That's what I reckon.
So Anna's score is 90. Our other judges may rescore, and they may adjust their initial scores if they wish. Currently sitting on majority 84 is its score, but it did average 85. Everybody's moved, so it's an 86 silver distinction. Yay. Excellent. Let's go next print, please. I think there'll be a lot of happy people. There's been some good scores coming out. There's been some great work that we've been looking at. Just waiting for the boys again. Thank you, judges. Print has averaged 78. 78. Yeah, I'd love someone to say something. Thanks, Anna.
This is a great concept. I would definitely keep working on it. I am not sure about the bird at the top left with his eyes just coming through that piece of black. I think one bird on the top is enough. Also, that black line, it's just, what is that black line? It's just a black line. If it was a piece of timber or something, it just, we need to know what that is to make it believable that, they're on maybe a fence. So, turn it
Potential's
into a bit
there.
of fence. The potential is
Potential's
there.
there.
It's quirky and Australian and lovely.
Excellent. Thank you, Anna. Next print, please. Exactly. So, go. Oh, good. That's all right. So, we'll get Philippe. Thank you, my judges. The print has averaged 76. Comment, David?
I think we need to decide either if all the wheels are going to be in the shot, or we're just going to go to the basket shot, and also just check your angle a little bit. It's falling towards us a little bit as well, and you could either go less contrasty and go for a sort of a more muted sort of palette, or give us a bit more guts to it as well. But it's a little bit no man's land at the moment.
All right. And we seem to be agreeing on that. Yeah.
Other thing,
One other thing.
the blacks in the background are not good. So cut the wheels and the Flicati rug out, reprint it, have
Okay.
some fun.
Thanks, Anna. Next print, please. Okay, thank you, judges. Just waiting on Paul. Thank you. Print has scored 78. Are we happy with that score? All right, well, what we're going to do, though, it's an automatic challenge. So what that means is it's an automatic challenge triggered by David Glazebrook, actually, because David's down on 67, but we've got Melanie up here on 87. So what that means is we speak once each. There's no right of reply, but we all get to rescore. All right, so what we'll do, we'll start with you, Mel. Yep, you can speak it. Oh, actually, yeah, you're right. I will rewind. I will start with David, because David's initiated the challenge.
So I enjoy the idea here, and I think it's worth exploring. I think it's worth going further with. What held me back from going into professional practice was I felt that the effect that was given to us was done in post-production, and it wasn't done particularly well for my liking. It felt muddy in the dodging and burning. The shadows on the neck on the right-hand side, the whites are actually going a little bit green for my liking, So just those sort of things needed to be massaged to give me professional practice. I'm listening.
All right, then. Well, hang on before we get to you, Mel. Patience, Grasshopper. Paul, can I hear from you?
Yeah, I moved over the line of the award range I think purely on the emotive quality and this iconic sort of suggestion of homage to one of the most beautiful creatures in this country. And there's a softness, a serenity, a grace, and a real beautiful, gentle presence here, which I think is encapsulated by isolating the features with the dodging and the lovely little dance of texture and the lighting that they've used on the subject.
Okay, Mel, you can have your say.
Paul just stole all the words out of my mouth. For those reasons that I did score it really well. I think congratulations to the photographer. They've just captured a perfect moment with a beautiful pose. You can see detail in both eyes. There's the shadow, the fall off, the way it just melts into the darkness. I just think it's beautiful.
Okay, Anna, you can say something quick.
I was 78 professional practice. I think that, the actual capture is beautiful. The problem is in the printing and the burning in. It's just too much on the body. The colour of the yellowy green on the chest. And the way to fix that is just turn it into black and white. I think that, you've got something here. Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Okay then. All right, all our judges, you may rescore, please, after hearing those comments. The current average is 78. And it will remain at 78. But thank you for those constructive comments. Quick judge change. Kelly Tunney, come back for Miss Lib. We're doing a swapsies. And we'll have next print, please. Thank you, judges. Print scores 74. I'd like you to make a comment. I'm just happy with that score. Yeah, we'll accept it. Kelly, a comment, thanks.
Something strikingly unusual and cool and quirky about it. Like it's an art. It's got a really nice feel to it, and there's something quite funky going on in the sky. Wouldn't quite call it banding, but this sort of magenta cast sort of coming through. Lift the shadows in the dog's face, I suppose, is another thing, and just that sort of heavy-handedness of the background. But there's something quite, man, I wish I had better words, but yeah, it's really interesting. But
so it's in the processing, perhaps, and in the post-production.
Give that some love, and this. It'd be interesting to see where this might go.
Okay, thanks very much, Kelly. We'll accept that score and say next print, please. Thank you, judges. Print has averaged 79. You may say something. No one can challenge, so a comment from Anna Blackman.
I just want to add a caption. It's behind me, isn't it? It's a great little quirky print. I don't know. I think that's what it is. You could work on the cat, but
But they've won a badge.
I
They've
think
won a
it's a
79ers
lovely little
badge.
quirky print, and I love that puppy and that evil cat.
Yes.
There's no detail in the fur on the cat, but I don't think it's going to get it up. But thank you for giving me a little bit of humour.
Well, if the photographers in the room see Marina or one of the New South Wales council members, and get yourself a badge. Yeah. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. By majority, we have a score of 84 silver, with Kelly Tunney challenging on 89, which you may do. Bearing in mind, Kelly, it did average 85. All right, so won't take
Little
too much.
nudge.
Yeah, it won't take too much talking. Perhaps let's hear from you.
There's something really ethereal, like how this photographer has handled such delicate colours and tonal ranges is really quite exquisite. It's been beautifully done and brave, I think, because it's really so pastel-like, and it's almost, you think you want it to have more punch, but I'm so glad that they didn't give that to us. Just the connection between these two animals is really quite touching and quite beautiful as well. Like the smaller one, just this gaze, and looking up to the older one, just that sort of, it's got emotive content too, and I think it's been printed really well. I'm trying to think why it shouldn't be up a lot higher, actually, to be honest. So I'd scored it 89. Thinking that this might happen, so I'm glad I did. So I'd like to see it go into silver distinction.
David Glazebrook.
So the reason I'm not there with you, Kel, in terms of, totally agree with what you sort of said, but where are the feet? It's like, I almost feel like I need that to sort of just complete the story. That's why I went as high as I could in silver, but just need that sort of to be there. Otherwise, I feel like they're a bit stuck. I actually think just my take on that relationship between the two is actually a male and a female, and it's the male that's actually calling for the female or doing some sort of strutting, sort of something of that nature, sort of, come hither, baby kind of stuff,
Let's hear from Paul, please.
Yeah, I'm with Kel on 88, and I'm considering going higher, actually. I feel like there's a beautiful cinematic, enigmatic quality to this. There's a very convincing narrative of courtship, both through the body size and the shape of male-female. I like the way it moves into a more figurative space with the simplicity of the background and actually the floating element of not having the feet. Beautiful framing. I think one of the reasons I didn't quite go there initially is I felt like there's a gorgeous gradation on the right-hand side of the frame, and it's a little bit less delicately handled on the left in terms of the blacks. But the detail, please go have a look after this, is unbelievable in this capture.
All right then. No comment from Mel or Anna to add anything. We'll go back to Kelly. Right of reply.
Yeah, thank you for the support, Paul. I think you said it beautifully. It's just the photography really should be so rewarded for just that, having that tactile sort of feeling to it. Like you can feel the feathers, you can feel so much in it, but yet it's so stripped back. Like it's weird. And I think that's been good weird. Yeah, thank you. And I think that's been done so well. I don't think I could do this at all. And I'm a bit disappointed in myself for not scoring a bit higher. So I'd really encourage you, have another look, because I think you'll remember this print. It's art. It's beautiful. Well done.
Thanks, Kelly. Sit back for a moment on 89. Other judges, please rescore. The current score is majority 84. Kelly, it's 88. Silver distinction. You got your wish. And all of our judges made movement. Very nice. Thanks, everybody. Let's go next print, please. Paul, did you press submit? Now he did. Thank you. Excellent. This print has scored 78. Challenge, all right. David made challenge on 83. He is 5 away from the average. There's an 82 there, but then 73, 76, 78.
I really enjoyed the technical side of this print in terms of how our subject projects from the print. It has that real sort of 3D quality that pops out, yet the lighting that the photographer has used here, if you look on the hind legs, you'll notice that there's the right catch lights right on the hind legs. They're warm, which is congruent with the sunlight coming over the opera house. So the attention to detail here has been really well done. The whole technical bit up front on the snout of the dog is quite compelling to sort of draw you in and feel that detail, and it has quite a cinematic feel to me in the sense that there's this big iconic landscape behind it, and it could be from one of those sort of dog movies. Here's the senior alpha about to sort of break into some sort of dialogue and sort of share the wisdom with us kind of business. So I got that sort of little narrative out of it, and yeah, put it in silver.
Do you want to say something, Anna?
Yes, there is a cinematic sort of feel to it. I'll give you that sort of 3D feel. But we're in the open category where we can get the background and not have the bridge going straight through his head, where we don't need that, what's the brick wall for? It's not telling us anything. All it's telling us is, he's a dog in Sydney. If there's a story, I'd like more of the story.
Right, Kelly. Yeah, Kelly, thanks.
Yeah, I'm in support with David too. I think it's just one of those occasions where the treatment and the lighting and the post-processing actually really suits the subject particularly well. Like that grittiness sort of goes with the character of this dog. And look at the clipped ears, like the power in that stance and everything. It's like I would not walk down to enjoy the Sydney Harbour because I might get chewed up. So I think in that context, it works. Like it works to really enhance that character. So I think it deserves a silver too. I'm with you.
Right. I'm not going to take a comment from Paul because you're the one who can sway. You're the average at 78. You could go either way. So I'm going to go back to David.
So the only real negative I've heard here is the positioning of the bridge through the dog's head. But if you were to come so much lower to try and put the bridge higher in the background, you're changing the real emphasis on the story. You're almost looking at the dog's nose. If you come that much higher above the dog to look down, we're making the dog small. He's no longer dominant and strong within the frame. I think it sits right within the frame. It's believable. It's correct. You move either way. You change the story dramatically and you change the whole story. So please reconsider. I'd like you to come to silver, please.
All right. Well, it's currently averaging 78 and David's score of 83 stays put. Everyone else can rescore. And we have a score of 80, silver award. Thank you, judges. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. On average, we have a score of 87. I'll tell you who I'm going to take. I'll take Kelly as a challenge because you're at 92, but there's a 91 there with you. There's an 88, there's an 86, and then you got David on 78. So we will hear from you all. All right, Kelly, I'll take that challenge.
Okay. Who thinks of this stuff? Like, really? Okay, I'll construct a better sentence, I promise. So, creativity, innovation, uniqueness, something I have not seen before. I mean, this is the pet category. I think as a dog owner myself who likes to treat my little Ruby like a child, I did this stuff for my child, and if I'd thought of it, I probably would have done it for my dog too. As an owner, like, man, I would love something quirky and interesting like this on my wall because, man, this is such innovation. And look, I've got to say, also done particularly well. I love the lighting on this dog. And I have a feeling someone on the other end might say that they don't. So I'm just going to address that first up because it's sort of like it has a childlike quality or something to it. And the expression on the dog is, you could take it many ways, but it just looks like it's just very patient. And it's like, I love you, owner, and I'm going to stand here and get my height taken because you're a weird dog person. But the level of technical ability with what's happening down the left-hand side with the numbers, the dates. Like, man, yeah, I really, really dig this photo, 92 for a gold for 50 other reasons that I'm not allowed to talk because I've got to pass it on to someone else.
Correct. And David will say something at 78.
So I really ebbed and flowed with where I was going to pop this, whether it was either going to be high professional practice or into award range. What held me back from going into award range was, if our subject is, back to the wall, standing nice and tall, look how tall I am, mum, then that lighting would be different on the giraffe and on the measuring tape there, because if it's back to the wall, as opposed to being composited to a black background, there would be either light fall off on it, or there would be something that would sort of give us some sort of keys there. And it was just that level of believability where I sort of struggled. Maybe I'm a bit hard at 78, but I'm struggling to get to gold. But I'm tuned in.
Well, Paul is on the gold cusp, 91.
I'm in happy G-land up here. What I feel like, there's an elongation to the neck that it's almost like it's trying to stretch high enough to please its owner and show how much it's grown, which is a very childlike quality often when you are growing up, and that's often what their context is like. So that anthropomorphic sort of narrative is really convincing in that regard. And I really enjoy the graphic nature of the left. That there's a deliberateness to everything in this that I'm not seeing this as one capture or one frame, and I don't need to, and it doesn't even go there for me. So that left-hand side is a reference point and to something else. Gold, please.
All right, Anna has something quick to say.
Yeah, I started in silver distinctions. Sorry, Kelly. He is so proud, and it is anthropomorphizing, because it's like he's really wanted to get to that height, and he's stretched. He's seen the giraffe, and he's thinking, I can do that. I can be taller. And he's finally got to the place where the monkey is, and he's sort of, I've got all these things that this dog is thinking, that this dog isn't thinking, but it's making me think that this dog is thinking all those things. Little Floki has gotten into big Floki, and he's really, really excited and really happy, and I love it too. Yeah, so I'll come up.
Kelly, you get a right of reply.
Yeah, thank you for adding extra bits to the story as well, because, like I said, his expression could go so many different ways. And I think, look, just to address the points that you made for the believability, like, again, it doesn't have to as well. Like, we are in an open category, and, something like this, it's okay for that it's been designed and put together this way. I have no problems with that personally. So, yeah, again, well done. 92, thanks.
All right, well, let's rescore. Kelly's score of 92 stays put. We'll see what the other judges are thinking. Hey, Kel. 90, gold award. Very good. And everybody did move their scores. Feeling good. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. Print has averaged 85. Silver distinction. Straight off. Yeah, straight off. I need a comment, though, because we're commenting on everything. Yeah, go, David. You were first.
I questioned the relevance of the number of branches in the bottom of the frame. I'm not saying get rid of them all, but I think having less explains why the birds would gravitate to this one sort of branch, but there's such a choice here, so I'm a bit like, why that? So I'm just trying to clarify that narrative even further to raise it higher.
Thanks, David. Next print, please. This print has scored 82, with a challenge from Paul on 87. Thanks, Paul. There is an 86 there with you, then 82 and 278s. Next. Hang on. Yes, you are.
Yeah, I'm going to take the invitation to invite one of you to join us up here. I feel like there's a number of narratives moving through this image. The bottom half of the image is a very intimate exploration of such a raw, natural process. Fresh birth and there's a connotation of death with the blood, because there's another body down below the first one that looks like it could be dead in the snow, and that speaks beautifully to the harshness of the landscape and the brutality of life. And in the other, and I love the way the second mother is looking back onwards to the process. Is she giving, okay, what's happening? So there's almost like a subtle emotive engagement back there and a witnessing. And then in the upper half of the frame, there's this other narrative of the human presence, the fact that even though these creatures live in their own very visceral, raw kind of lives, they're still contained and controlled and segmented and put in places. And there's another body of out there that are in their own space. And so it speaks on quite a few different levels, which really beautifully brought me up here. And the print is stunningly handled.
All right, thanks, Paul. We'll hear from David, who's on 78.
Yeah, I was a little conflicted, Paul, with the man influence that you're talking about here, particularly the fencing that we're referring to, whether the fencing should have been there at all, but it then aids your story that you're telling us. But when you go to that fence line, then the blacks in those fences, those fence posts are like solid black. They need a bit of work. They need to pull out. And then I was struggling a little bit on the right-hand side here. The right-hand U is very close to the frame. And so for me, it was, whilst high professional practice in that storytelling of birth and death and that, it was just some finessing that sort of needed to get me across the line there. But yeah, I could certainly be persuaded.
All right, a word from Anna.
Yeah, the fence, as David said, but also to get it up into silver distinction, there must have been a time when that mum looked down at that baby, and she's just, I know she's exhausted, but, she's just taking no notice, and we're not, the touchy-feely, oh, mum looking at baby, we're not getting that. We're just getting exhaustion and, worry. And for me, I'd like to see that narrative of the baby and mother and the emotion between them.
I'll ask Melanie for a comment on 86.
I just think that's precisely why this deserves the silver distinction, because it's real life. There's no cuddly blankets for that little lamb to be wrapped up in. It's next to its dead sibling. She's just got to move on. And even with the human influence, we've not been able to save that lamb. So she's just there.
All right, Paul, right of reply.
I find the body language on the left of the mother incredibly convincing of grief, of just utter surrender and exhaustion, and it's just got its dead young right next to it. It's so forlorn, and the narrative of the human element speaks to the fact that if they weren't contained and just put out there in this raw, open, unprotected space, then maybe they would have found somewhere sheltered or somewhere that they would have naturally moved to in their own species sense of survival to allow the young to live and to have more chance. And man's influence here has forced them out in the open and given them nowhere else to go. Beautifully communicative image. Silver distinction, please.
All right, thanks, Paul. Judges, please rescore. Paul can sit back for a moment. And you've got your silver distinction, Paul, 85. Awesome. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. Print has averaged 79. And no one can challenge because we're all around the same marks. But if I could get a comment, please, I might ask. Kelly, you're looking a bit...
No, because I think it's pretty interesting concept to showcase that we haven't probably really seen like this in a category. I just think it's going to come down to just the really strong finessing, better technical prowess with what's going on in the background. You can sort of see even from back here just what's happening sort of beyond the stick of the red on the left side. Give that some love, and who knows, it's interesting.
Okay, thanks, Kel. Next print, please. Thank you, judges. Print has averaged 77. David will challenge. David's on 84. You are a bit out on your own.
That's me.
78, 78, 68, 76. Go for it, David.
So, of course, when this print comes around, the most compelling feature, of course, is the eyes. You're drawn to the eyes, and it's about the body language of this cat. And it's almost a big cat gesture within a small cat. And when you go up and you explore these really darks, because you've got a black cat hiding in the shadows, coming out of the shadows, but playing, and you'll see that it's playing within a grove of bamboo. There's bamboo that's hidden in the shadows here. You'll even notice on the leaf that's on the right-hand side of the bamboo, it holds a little water drop right there. So I think there's a nice little garnish right there. And I think this really captures quite a lot of behaviour that is... as I said, big cat behaviour in a small cat here. I really feel the cat's personality, and I think from that perspective, that's why I saw it into a solid silver award.
All right, Kelly, please.
Yeah, look, I can agree that, we don't have to always, like, the shadow detail needs to be just bang on every single time. I agree. It's sometimes not even relevant. In this case, I can agree with some things that you brought to our attention, but the Photoshop and the post-production work that's crunching up they've tried to leave those shadows down, that's great, but in the background they've tried to bring out some of those elements, and they're just crunching up and going a bit sort of chalky-like and just breaking up, I think. I think the cropping with just that sort of tight line towards the bottom of the paw is just too tight. I do enjoy the eyes, but for those reasons I don't think it quite gets there.
All right then. Mel, Anna, do you have anything that you can add or speak to the print? No? Nothing from Paul? Okay, right of reply, David.
No, I acknowledge what Kelly's brought forth there in the post-production. I think it's the emotive that got me past that and brought me to a level where, as I said, felt personality, felt the context of the environment where this cat is hunting, and felt enough there that it was a strong enough emotive content to get past those technical competencies to get it into a silver award. Thanks.
Right, we're currently sitting at 77. Could we please rejudge or rescore, I beg your pardon? David's score of 84 stays put. And the score remains at 77. Thank you. I'll accept that score. Let's see what happens. Next print, please. Have we got another print? Oh, no. Go blank screen. Is that the next category? Yeah, that's Are you sure? Hang on, give us a blank screen. I have that we've finished the category.